Thanks for staying with us on the program. Let's turn attention to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the Congolese president, Felix Tshisekedi, says he is committed to inclusive and peaceful dialogue between all people of the republic. In a New Year's address to the diplomatic corps in Kinshasa, he said national unity is more than ever a fundamental requirement. But he did not fail to give his conditions for dialogue. President Tshisekedi is insisting that the peace talks must hold on home soil and under institutional control. He also says the process should not call into question his legitimacy, that of democratic institutions, or overturn court decisions already made. His comments come amid fighting in the eastern axis of the country between the army and Rwanda-backed M23 rebels. The president of Angola, João Lourenço, has in recent weeks been promoting the idea of an Inter-Congolese national dialogue called for by part of the opposition. Right, for a discussion on the search for peace in the Democratic Republic of Congo, a writing fellow of the African Liberty, Gideon Ajay Mawuto, joins me from Accra, Ghana. Good to have you join us, Gideon.
Thank you for having me.
So let me start by getting your thoughts on the idea of an inter-Congolese national dialogue once again.
I think the idea on its surface is remarkable, and it's a good thing that the Congolese people need to actually have a national dialogue concerning the issues that are happening in their country and the ways forward to solve some of the crises that the people are facing. And so on the surface, it's actually a good call. It's remarkable. And it's something I think most Congolese people would be looking forward to having.
Gideon, did you say on the surface is actually a good call? So
yes, on the surface.
So again, when you look then deeply, how good of a call is this? And does it have any implication for national, when you look at how other dialogues have gone, how do you think this particular one will go as well, off the surface?
So with a deeper analysis, we can see that per the preconditions that the president has provided, it looks like it's going to be more exclusionary than inclusive. And what I mean is that already people are contesting, like opposition parties are contesting the legitimacy of the president's presidency. And this comes as a backdrop of what happened during the elections. And the president has now put forward that no one should actually try to argue about his legitimacy. So that is off the table. So what kind of dialogue are we having if the things that the people want to talk about are taken off the table? And so it comes up looking like a sham, a sort of thing for the international community to see and praise Congo for coming to a point where they can actually have national unity without actually having the ingredients that will bring about the national unity. Already there are ongoing conflict that is occurring in Congo, and there's a distrust for the institutions that already exist in Congo. So the preconditions that the president has provided actually masks the reasoning for having the dialogue. It destroys the intent of the dialogue, because the thing that people would want to talk about, opposition leaders, thought leaders would come together to want to talk about, are already off the table. So what exactly are we, or are they going to sit down to talk about?
So and I want to stay on the points you're making about the conditions that the president has given. Now, since the return of multi-party democratic competition in Congo, there have been at least 8 such dialogues, 3 of which, have happened in the last decade. And, I mean, they've all failed. That's why a new one is needed. Do you think that President Tshisekedi has learned his lessons, from the mistakes of the past with those dialogues?
I doubt he has learned the mistakes from the past dialogue. And the reason I say this is because he already has provided preconditions. That is topics and no-go areas for people who would sit on the table to have discussions about. So what kind of reconciliation are we having here, right? In South Africa, when they had the Truth and Reconciliation Committee with the Archbishop heading this, people had to come out and speak truth to power, tell what exactly happened. It was only through that healing and moving forward could actually go on in South post-apartheid South Africa. And here we are again having another national dialogue where the issues that pertains to the lives of Congolese are not going to be addressed. The people that the Congolese people do not have trust in, i.e. the political elites, are going to be the ones going to sit down and have this particular talk. The institutions that have been seen as in cahoots with the sitting government are going to be the ones sharing and moving, steering the committees within this particular dialogue. So what exactly are these dialogues really going to produce? Basically nothing. So history is going to repeat itself, because then the president is not actually learning from what has happened. He's actually trying to consolidate his power by trying to look like someone who is having a democratic dialogue with his people, but instead entrenching his power by showing the international community that, look, here we are actually doing what democracy instills upon us to do, and we are delivering it onto the people without the people actually having a say in whatever goes on in their country.
And what about the thorny issue of the M23 rebels? How do they fit in this conversation?
So the M23, as we have come to know, is being backed by the Rwandan government. And this is a serious issue because it means that it is a militia that is funded by a foreign government trying to probably destabilize Congo. Now, if we are having this particular dialogue and M23 or those who are the militia, the head of the militias of M23 are not at the table, the financiers of M23 are not being held accountable, are not brought onto the table to have these discussions, I doubt this is actually going to really bring any reprieve for the people of Congo. Because the main issue is that there is conflict ongoing, even as we speak. Even when this particular dialogue is going to take place, the conflict will still be ongoing. Therefore, what exactly is the president going to actually put forth as a truce amongst the militia and then the government's own army? We have no idea. And the thing is that there's so little information that has been provided. The information that has been provided is so little to go on with. And the president is not providing us any way to actually push back, to actually insert what we or what the people would want to have on the table. He has already decided where we are going to go ab initio. And so without any particular consideration of whether M13 will be part of this particular dialogue or the heads will be part, whether the financiers will be brought, we have no idea. So, I mean, this particular dialogue is more of a sham than actually trying to solve the issue.
And Gideon, just staying on the issue of this particular dialogue being a sham, a lot of people have shared concerns that this particular dialogue could be hijacked. It could become an opportunity for the president, to President Tshisekedi, to reach out to the opposition and offer juicy position within his government, which we've seen in previous dialogues in DRC. And that it could also be an opportunity to reach out to some members of the M23 rebel who have signaled willingness to drop their weapons and offer them amnesty. Do you think that perhaps it's an opportunity for President Tshisekedi to further secure that legitimacy that he so desires?
I think this is a way for him to solidify his current governance in Congo. And the reason why I say this is that over the time that multipartyism has been allowed in Congo, we have seen the political elites actually control majority of the resources. Now they can come as different campaigners trying to win elections and run the country. But one thing that they are all tied together and agree about is the fact that resources continue to stay in their hands. So extending an olive branch to the opposition is actually something that the political elites already understand as consolidating power for the president, as well as getting some resources for themselves or kickbacks for themselves. Because whatever happens, the Congo being one of the richest places on planet Earth still has the poorest people on this planet. And why is that? Because a small handful of elites have played this game of democracy. They get into power and they may try to consolidate power by trying to appease their friends and then still continue to loot and control the majority of resources whilst giving the civilians and the citizens crumbs to continue to allow them to go through their daily lives. So I don't see this as a move in the right direction. I just see this as the president making sure that he has no one who would oppose him as he continues to govern Congo.
Thank you so much for your time. A writing fellow of the African Liberty, Gideon Ajay Mauto. Pleasure to have you on.
Pleasure to have. Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you.
All right, that's it on World Now. For more updates on the stories we're monitoring, you can visit our website. It's www.tvcnews.tv. Thanks for watching. I am Precious Amai.